Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday edition of The Scene. A special show today. Yes, we do the entire half hour with my buddy, Teresa Medeiros, who has her brand new book. Show them, guys. There it is. Give the big cheesy grin. Is today the first day?
Today is the first day.
Well, the book's called Goodnight Tweetheart, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But we always, normally it's once a year.
It is, yeah.
But you were just here 3 months ago.
You've seen way too much of me lately. Yes,
know.
I had a book out in September. So this September, December, that may be a new record.
Okay. And you're working on a new one.
I am.
But I wanted to talk about something here, and I didn't tell you this, but we're going to talk about this. I realized something this week, because you and I talked.
Right.
And you were going to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes, I was.
On Sunday, and the ice messed everything up.
We made it as far as O'Charlie's.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. But then I got to thinking, you were going to see Jimmy Buffett when the rain came down and everything flooded. So I'm beginning to think there's some kind of like curse on you.
Well, the couple that we had scheduled to go to both these concerts with are afraid to schedule anything else with us. It's really sad.
The next time that somebody comes that I want to see, I'm going to make sure you're not going.
Yes, because the best part is when you take the tickets home and you put salt and pepper on them and you eat them.
Exactly. But I happened to, the reason we were talking about it, I happened to be down there for the afternoon and drove home and all that. And you made the right choice.
I'm glad you made it out alive. Yes.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, my husband was driving and he said, you know, we want to go desperately, but it's not worth risking our lives over. So.
And it was pretty bad.
We went to Starbucks for consolation coffee instead.
So well, basically what you did, you bought the tickets twice, because by the time you went to Starbucks, you paid about
This is true.
Never mind. Speaking of which, I do want to bring this up now. You said you wrote this book mostly in Starbucks.
I did, actually. Usually when I'm writing historicals, it's important for me to be completely separated from the modern world. But because this is a contemporary, and I should add the heroine in the book spends a lot of time at Starbucks, it felt very natural to be sitting there in the corner at that big table with my laptop, writing the tweets back and forth that Mark and Abby were sending.
So if you're writing historical, what do? Sit in the woods or something?
Well, I actually sit in a corner in my bedroom. I even have to get away from the computer that has a connection to the internet so that I won't be constantly checking Facebook and Twitter every 5 minutes.
Okay. And by the way, folks, if you don't follow Teresa on both of those, you should, because she's quite entertaining. You do, and you have the greatest fans.
Aren't they wonderful? I know they're funny. They send me pictures and funny cat pictures and videos and links, and they're really great people. That's why I love them.
I mean they really, really do.
Yeah, they're really wonderful. A lot of them have been fans for a very long time. So.
This is number
21.
21.
Yes, number 21.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I mean, did you ever in your wildest dreams think you would be who you are? Not who you are, but you know, where you are in writing?
Well, I was an only child, so you always think you're going to be rich and famous because you tend to be a little grandiose in that situation. I really believed I could have a successful career, but it's probably exceeded my expectations in a good way.
If you came along in a relatively short time, like your third book, I believe, it hit the big time.
Yes, Heather and Velvet.
Okay, so, which I would say probably much sooner than most people.
Right. I was very young, too.
Right, and you've told the story before, you were just, pardon the expression, too dumb to know any different.
Yeah, I just fell off the turnip truck. So I didn't know how competitive the business was supposed to be or how hard it was. And, if I'd have known that then a natural amount of fear might have set in. But there's a good thing about being in your 20s is you don't have a lot of fear. And that really worked in my favor.
We are going to talk about the book, of course, in a few minutes. I do want to tell you it is now on the shelves.
Yes.
You are having a great Christmas gift, especially, I do want to talk to you about the concept of tying in Twitter and all that, because I don't know that anybody else has done that. But where can they get this? When is your book signing?
Okay.
I have an autographed copy, folks.
He does.
Yeah, this one's got my name in it.
I would get in so much trouble if I didn't give him an autographed copy.
You wouldn't get on the show.
Well, there's that, yes.
That too. No, but what's going on with that?
Okay, well, the book just came out today. I had my first spotting. I was at Borders in Clarksville today and spotted it on the shelf under New and Recommended, so that was lovely. Kroger is where I will be having my signing this Saturday.
In Hopkinsville?
Yes, in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. December the 18th, which will be this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m.
Okay.
And so we're hoping the weather permitting, that all my friends and family and readers can come out and see me and get autographed copies.
And if you've never been to one, and I've only been to one, and I was just amazed. I walked in and there was like all these people.
So much fun.
And they come out and hang around and,
The funniest story was last time I had a pretty big line when the signing first started, and this poor man waited until he got to the very front of the line, and he thought it was the line for flu shots.
Oh my goodness.
So he was kind of upset when he got there.
You know
I'm
what?
a nurse.
You're a nurse.
That's what I said.
Right.
I should do autographed books and give flu shots. Why not?
Well, you know what? This could be the start of a whole new career.
I like it.
Teresa Medeiros, of course, our guest. You can see her at teresamedeiros.com. You can follow her on Twitter and also on Facebook. And you were telling me before, I keep saying we're going to get into the book. We're kind of getting into it, but there's a really good web presence.
Yes, there is. Yeah, if you go to my homepage, my website, there's also a link to a website that Simon & Schuster has done specifically for this book. And what you can find there, you can find an iTunes playlist of the songs that Mark and Abby mention in the book. You can find deleted tweets, special scenes that I've written just for the website. My favorite thing is you can find in the book, they send back pictures back and forth because, like, you know, he says, what do you look like? And she sends him a picture of Angelina Jolie. He sends her a picture of Brad Pitt, and they hit like right at the same minute. So they're each kind of being a little bit
both
sneaky.
lying like dogs.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. If you go to the website, it'll have every single picture that they send each other is on the website.
We're going to have about a minute 15 here, and there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to say, what is Twitter?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it?
Okay, if you're on Facebook, right now Facebook probably has more people, although Twitter has, I think, is up to like 179 million users. Twitter is like Facebook, but it's much shorter updates. All of your updates have to be 140 characters or less.
Kind of a mini blog.
Exactly. Well, like I was telling somebody earlier, to me it's like the best cocktail party in the world, except it's going on for 24 hours a day, and somebody is always saying something interesting.
And I just have really, I've been doing it for 2 years. I really, in the last month, have kind of learned it to suit me, because I didn't like it for a while, but now I was telling you, I set up a search before you came, Teresa Medeiros, and I was seeing all the people that, all over the world, if your name's mentioned, it comes across the screen, and it's really cool.
Actually, I think you and my friend Doug Sampley were the two people who first mentioned Twitter to me.
I don't know, I was really pushing Facebook, maybe Twitter too.
Right, I think you did mention it.
And of course, she argued with me for years.
Oh, yes.
I'm not getting on Facebook. And now you love it. You've got, what, 11, 12,000
Well, that's what I was afraid. I was afraid I'd love it. So it cuts into so much of your time.
But it really works for what
I love
you do.
it. Yeah, and especially the fact that we also get international fans on Facebook. And I think that's really a wonderful thing to hear somebody in Indonesia or France, talking about your books.
Let's take a break. David will do weather. We'll come back, and we're going to get into Goodnight Tweetheart. I do want to sing that,
I know you should.
Goodnight,
really.
sweetheart. Oh, it's time to go.
It's definitely time to go.
Call me Bowser, folks. We'll be right back. All right, my buddy Teresa Medeiros is here, out with her 21st book called Goodnight Tweetheart. All right, tell me a little bit about this. This is different. This is a romance over Twitter.
It is, basically. Abby is a writer. I said there's a lot of autobiographical things in this book because Abby's cats are the same as my cats, that sort of thing. Abby has a mother in a nursing home. I have a mother in the nursing home. So there are a lot of little secrets about myself in here that if you know me at all, you'll recognize some of those things. But anyway, Abby gets on Twitter because her publicist insists that she get on there. She doesn't really want to. She's sort of reluctant like I was.
Sort of like you.
Yeah, exactly. And the first person she meets is Mark Baynard, who is a college professor on sabbatical, traveling the world. And he essentially teaches her how to use Twitter. So you sort of get a little mini Twitter 101 lesson in here. And they start, going back and forth. Their relationship, they use a lot of pop culture references because they like a lot of the same movies, a lot of the same TV shows. And every time they sign off, they always say Goodnight Tweetheart. And that's where I got the title from.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Well, and the neat thing about this, and maybe there's a style, but you alternate it between regular book writing, which I'll call it,
Right.
and Twitter.
Exactly.
I mean, it's written just as a Twitter conversation would be.
Right. The tweets, basically you have Abby's life as a frame around the tweets was how I tried to think of it. So you have scenes where you're learning about, what's going on in Abby's life. Then you have the tweets, and as her relationship with Mark deepens, then he starts to have an effect on her real life outside of Twitter. And so I like the structure of that. It worked out really well. I'm very pleased with it.
Now, have you received, or what kind of comments have you received about this? Has anybody done something like this that you're aware of?
I think there may have been a young adult novel in tweets, but I think this is probably the very first novel for grown-ups, set in the Twitter format. So I think it's definitely, sort of a groundbreaking idea.
Have you been getting a lot of feedback from people?
I have.
Of course, it's early, I know.
Yeah, I know. Well, Amazon, I think, released it a few days early. They were a little sneaky there. But what I'm mostly hearing is it made me laugh, it made me cry. One woman said, I cried so much during the last 100 pages, I couldn't see the page. So it's apparently a very emotional book for the readers. They said, like I said, there's a lot of humor, but there's a little bit of pathos, and that essentially is what I'm hearing. I've had some comparisons to Nicholas Sparks, that sort of thing.
Well, how did this come to you? I mean, what triggered it?
Mark and Abby they were so strong as characters. I started thinking of this conversation between these two people in my head. And so basically, which, happens. We frequently hear snippets of dialogue in our head, but their tweets were just so strong. It was like I could not tell this story. I told my agent, if we can't sell this, I'm writing it anyway.
Because this is interesting in the fact that you normally do about once a year.
Right.
And then here you come out with, one in September and then December.
Right.
Were you working on two of them at the same time?
No, I really wasn't. I had finished The Devil Wears Plaid, which was the historical that came out in September, and then I ended up starting this one right away and got that one done. And like I said, this one took maybe 6 or 7 months, a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Now, you told me the other day, and I don't remember the term,
Right.
this is a different type of book or a different size book or
Yes,
something?
this is called a trade paperback. Most of the mass market paperbacks, the historical romances, they're a little bit smaller than
Okay.
this. Yeah, this is a trade paperback. It's a very popular format for women's fiction or for just fiction in general right now. So it's a little bit, the cost is $15, but most places have it discounted. Like when I'm signing at Kroger's, it'll be like $11.55.
Okay.
So most of the time, it doesn't actually cost $15 because it's usually discounted. But yeah, it's a very popular format right now.
And perfect timing, again, for Christmas, and for all of you older folks who don't know about Twitter and all, this is perfect for maybe the grandkids or the younger college age or whatever who like,
Yes, I have also
romance.
gotten comments, though, from readers already saying, I don't know anything about Twitter, and I understood everything about the book. I
Okay.
enjoyed it very much, because it's almost like if you were reading a movie script. Well, I mean, when they're actually talking, there are narrative passages, but when they're talking, it's just like you're reading their dialogue back and forth. It's very similar to that. So
Yeah,
most
don't let
people,
that part scare
Yeah,
you.
they don't really have a problem with that.
Yeah, because
so.
basically with Twitter, all it is it's the conversation
Yeah,
between the two.
it's like-
So, but it's abbreviated.
Exactly. That's why I feel like you're eavesdropping on a conversation. It's like if you were watching two different people on Facebook, and their statuses, and you're only seeing that, then that's what this is.
Okay. Goodnight Tweetheart. It is now in the store. When is the book signing again?
The book signing is this Saturday, December 18th, from 1 to 3 at Kroger in Hopkinsville on Skyline Drive.
And I assume you said Amazon and all
Yes.
those kind of people.
all
are
the
gonna have
online
it.
booksellers, Borders, Target is supposed to have plenty of copies.
So if you'd order like 10 copies today, you will have them to give out for Christmas.
I actually ordered 10 copies yesterday. So
Did you really?
I did.
You have to order your own book?
Well, they send me a certain amount of author copies, but I wanted to take several copies to Starbucks because
Oh, okay.
the employees there were so great while I was working there. So I'm going to give them a little Christmas gift.
Do they know it?
Well,
They do
a
now.
couple of them do. They do now.
All right, Teresa Medeiros is with us. We'll be right back.